Did you miss us? Didn't think I was going to be able to actually afford it, but we've got one ultra mega donor. Her name's Mom. She was like, I like you and your brother in the studio doing this. Live long and prosper. Thank God for family. Anyway, welcome back to Remso Republic Live. We are back. Be Live decided they wanted some blood money, and I was like, I guess we're canceling this. Bye. And then we were able to make it work. And the good thing about this is we always knew that Be Live was going to demand something at some point because they have a very fine product, except when you're 40 minutes late because their stuff isn't working and they force you to go live without any review of what you're going to talk about. But who cares? Anyway, we finally got to work. We're coming back. Season 3 of the podcast starts tomorrow, but I'm glad we were able to start back the Revived live show with some new features for Season 3. Just a quick admin note, things are going to change. We will not be doing the live show on the same day the podcast comes out. So we'll be doing these, as of right now, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And we may or may not do a weekend one, but we have something special planned for the weekend one. We might do a Sunday show. We have something special for that. So it will not be the same as Mondays with Tim Preuss or Tuesdays and Thursdays where it's just me chilling out. But speaking of that, where's Tim? Because we were going to do this yesterday, and I get a text at 10:30, and he's like, are we still doing this? And I was like, crap, I missed it this time. And then I go on to fix this, and it's like, crap, nothing's working again. So let's go ahead and find Tim. Where's Tim? Ryan, can you bring Tim on the screen? Sup, Tim? Happy Megxit 1776.
Yeah, happy Independence Day, brother. Yeah, it was great yesterday. I mean, I felt bad about the one time when I just totally slept through doing this with you, but yesterday you slept through it, so now we're even. A little bit of payback, I guess.
Yeah, a little. I wake up on Twitter, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, crap, I'm going to start seeing my face on milk cartons. Where's Remso? And I'm just like, now I have to feel this way. It's always a little bit more embarrassing when it's you. I want to say that I'll reform my ways. I'll be more sympathetic towards people, but no, because it's not funny.
No. Nah. I mean, keep being a hard ass. Even the best of us will make a mistake every now and then, but it doesn't compare to those people who live their lives like a Jerry Springer show.
Basically, speaking of Jerry Springer show, I've got one quick story. One of the reasons why I was so tired yesterday was because Ryan and I had just finished 72 hours of production for our new Haunted Republic documentary. It's Haunted Republic, St.Albans Sanatorium. It's going to come out in about a month. Right now, Ryan and I are still compiling all of our footage together to organize it so we could start the post-production and actually start, mixing and matching things together. But one quick story was, my biggest thing was I want to debunk all of this. I want to have a fun historical show. I don't know why my headsets are all screwed up. 1 second. So basically, we wanted to have like a very, history-friendly show about the mental health movement through the lens of a ghost hunt to entertain people. And as a former skeptic, I was like, I want to debunk all of this. So part of what we did was we went on a tour with a handful of other people because I'm like, when people are alone and when you're watching this on TV, they can fabricate things, they can exaggerate things. When you're in a group of people, it's going to be harder to do that. You might not be able to pick things up as much because often nothing happens on ghost tours when groups. I mean, I wanted to find every way to debunk it. And at one point, we're sitting in a room and I see this very young couple. They're probably mid-20s, about my age, and they look like they've been dating for only a short amount of time. And the one guy, he's wearing a Friday the 13th t-shirt. He has cigarettes falling out of his pants each time he takes a step. He's taunting his girlfriend, who is kind of like him, very tall, lanky, cigarettes falling out of everywhere and weaves. And he's like, oh, hopefully nothing comes out and possesses you and snaps your neck like that chick from The Exorcist. And hopefully there's no crazy killer with the knife. And next thing you know, he's like, oh, I heard in one room they used to sacrifice virgins here. And next thing she looks at him and she's like, well, thank God I'm not one. And she picks up and leaves. And I'm watching this dude laughing, and he's just like, what the hell? I don't know what he was more surprised at, the fact that she left him there or the fact that she decided to drop that on him now. But don't think they'll be, conducting any paranormal investigations together very soon.
Oh, I hope that they don't do anything else together. Like, keep those, like, sterilize those two. I do not want them having kids, because if they have kids, it's going to be a goddamn nightmare for the rest of us.
I would love
like a real nightmare. Like, you think that going to that sanitarium was like scary? No, it's going to be nothing compared to what these two pop out.
It's just going to be the Maury Povich show, season 2000. They'll purposely freeze his brain and merge him with Watson. So it's like, I see that you said you aren't cheating on your wife. This shows that is a lie. It shows that you said you have not done cocaine in 20 years. That is a lie. Like, we're entering some dark times, like Twilight Zone times.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that the kind of documentary that you're coming out with. I think it's going to be really cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and I sent Tim a clip, folks. And if you want to see the clip, shameless pitch, you can go ahead and join Patreon for $1 a month. It's $1 a month. Thank you for putting up the bumper, Ryan. It's just $1 a month. And you get just Haunted Republic podcast. We do this because, I want to keep the main show the way it always is. But, paranormal investigation stuff is a passion of Ryan and I. So we thought, we should give out something specifically for people that want to have fun and talk about that stuff. So $1 a month. I posted a clip, and I sent this clip to Tim, and I can go ahead and spoil it because, you haven't actually seen it. So when you see it in the documentary, which is for free, the documentary is absolutely free on YouTube. You have to pay nothing for it. It'll be absolutely free. At one point, we were in a section of St. Albans where there was it was the boys' school component back before it was a sanatorium, so it was classrooms and stuff. And Ryan and I are in this lone corner of the hallway, and we're pushed into it was one of the classrooms. We have cameras set up everywhere, and at one point, Ryan's like, "Okay, as many lights as possible," and I'm like, Ryan, nothing ever happens when the lights are on. So he's like, no, I'm a very unorthodox investigator. I want freaking lights. So I was like, fine. So we turn on as many lights. Honestly, I was okay with that because I was like, oh, nothing will happen when the lights are on. Crap happened when the lights were on. And we have we're conducting a flashlight session, and we place it on the floor right by the door. And as soon as Ryan is just like, okay, because he's more of an expert in this stuff than me. He's like, okay, is anything here? That little bastard starts lighting. And it just, like, honestly, it gets really creepy because at one point, like, fast forward about 10 minutes, I asked the question, or maybe it was Ryan who asked it. Can you flicker or flash the light for the number of spirits that are in the room? And that thing just starts going. And I'm just like, did that thing just say 3? That thing just said MFing 3 entities are in this room. And it's just like, Tim, we have some EVP recordings. I had a mini shotgun mic attachment to my iPhone, which I conducted some EVP sessions with. And Ryan has a digital recorder that he did some EVP sessions with. Honestly, I have not even watched the EVP. I have not even listened to the EVP recordings yet. You
probably don't want to. Like, there's part of you that does, but another part of you that doesn't, because you're like, oh, dang it, I thought it was all a trick. Like, there's a certain part of you that has to not believe it. Like, man, they must have just rigged this thing with a bunch of wires and magnets and all sorts of stuff so they can fuck with people's electronics and all that. Yeah. But it also like boggles your mind. I mean, I've gone to, like haunted houses and stuff like that, but also like a few haunted areas of Wisconsin. And sometimes it's just like things happen and you're not sure exactly what happened, but that's the whole problem, is you don't know what happened. Like, I saw headlights in the middle of the woods. Where do they come? There's no road, and there's no car. you know. So, and it was also supposedly a spot where a person hanged themselves.
Oh
You
my
know.
gosh. Okay, at one point, and I wish we had caught this on camera. We were at the large group, so I didn't want to record much with the large group. At one point, we're in a section of the house where they had the showers and the bathtubs and everything. And there's this one bathtub which is just in a dark space, and there's spots and rust, and it looks like blood stains all over it. So I look at Ryan and I'm like, Ryan, I want you to capture a picture of me in that bathtub. And he's like, no, shut up, I'll tell you more upstairs. So I'm like, okay, actually knock that. And we get upstairs, and then finally I'm like, okay, Ryan, why wouldn't you let me take a picture in the creepy bathtub? And he's like, that was called the suicide bathroom, and there's a demonic entity in there that I don't even want to mess with. So I'm just like, what the hell? And at one point we're in a boiler room where apparently like Satan likes to hang out, and we have this one psychic medium that's with the ghost hunting company that's hosting the event, and he's like, oh, this is nothing, this is a level 2 demon, and it's nothing like a king demon. And I'm like, what the hell is a king demon? Is it like something out of Doom 3? It's like, what the hell are we dealing with? He's like, oh, this one's just a baby. And I'm like, what do you consider a baby? And he's like, it has to be at least 2 million years old. And I'm like, dude, that thing's already collecting Social Security. Like, what
a
the
lot
hell?
of Social Security. And they don't die.
Yeah, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. And it's just like, I cannot wait to show you the footage. And I mean, I'm a skeptic, folks. I want to debunk a lot of things. You'll see Ryan and I debunk stuff. We did catch some things on camera, some anomalies, but because we don't know whether it was dust or reflection or a light, or if it was something paranormal, for some of the stuff in the film, you'll see that we don't call it a ghost. We just called it an unexplained anomaly or abnormality. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have Russ Bailey in the comments. Hey, Russ, what's going on? If you join Patreon for $1 just to get everything Haunted Republic-wise, you can join our special Patreon group, and I'll be interviewing Russ Bailey from Black Sky Paranormal, who was there with me last night. He's one of the collaborators for the film, and we'll have a good time. So, yeah, Tim, that's why I slept in yesterday, because my soul was permanently damaged by that investigation. But, yeah.
Yeah, it was probably hard for you to get to sleep after like witnessing some of that stuff. So then you fell asleep, but it was too late, which meant you're going to sleep through any alarm clock, blah, blah, blah. I get it.
Yeah, it was genuine. It wasn't just, I'm just going to chill in this morning. Man, it was like I had some freaky nightmares. But you know what's freaky? They weren't even nightmares about like stuff coming after me. They weren't like real nightmares. It was more like, oh, crap. I left my cell phone in the room where we heard all those scratches on the wall. I really don't want to have to go back up there by myself. So, and it's like, oh, I come back downstairs, I got my cell phone. It's like, crap, I left my wallet in the suicide bathroom.
Oh,
and
no.
I left my glasses in the place with the freaking king level baby demon. And it's like, I can't get a break today. And then I wake up and it's like, I feel physically exhausted from that.
Yeah, and then you look over at your nightstand and everything's gone. Like you don't have your cell phone or your glasses or your wallet. And you're like, no, this is a dream after all.
Anyway, we're check out Haunted Republic, folks. That will be coming out soon, and definitely help support us on Patreon. We only do this stuff, and I will only go on ghost hunts only if I can make some money off of it. Ryan and my dad, when my dad is here, they will go to some pretty insane places, and I will never go with them. But it wasn't until I was like, oh, my fans like the paranormal, and I can make some coin off of this to fund the operation. I'll go sit in the suicide bathroom and get touched and groped and hear people scream death, and it's just like the things I do for content. Desperation. Anyway, we do have some news coming on this 4th of July day. Mr. Producer, second point, please. We've got Megs at 17. I don't know if you heard, but recently there was a lot of hoopla about Austin Petersen, whether he was going to run for Senate. And then the question was, is he going to run for Senate as a Libertarian, since he ran for the 2016 Libertarian nomination? Or is he going to run as a Republican, because the Libertarians will never achieve anything in federal office? Thoughts on this?
I'm not sure which way he's going to go. I think he should go as a Republican.
He just announced that he's running as a Republican.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, perfect. He beat me to it. Yeah, I was going to say do it as a Republican. I mean, Ron Paul was a Republican when he held elected office. Gary Johnson was a Republican, and you have guys like Rand Paul and Thomas Massey and Justin Amash, and they're all Republicans, but they're all, in some form or another, some kind of a libertarian. So if he actually wins, I'll be thrilled. That'll just be another juggernaut up there. To kind of try to keep everything somewhat sane. Him and Rand Paul and Mike Lee, they'll make a good trio.
Yeah, I mean, even just going back, I mean, they're like, oh, the Republican Party will never nominate someone who's libertarian-minded or liberty-minded. But then it's like, we had Barry Goldwater, who's the father of the modern American libertarian movement within the Republican Party. And, I forgot who it was. I think it wasn't John Hospers, Ryan. I'm looking at you. Who was the guy that he was the unfaithful electoral vote? Yeah, it was somebody. But anyway, the guy that was the unfaithful elector in the first presidential election where a libertarian actually got an electoral vote, he went on to run for president as a libertarian. And in the 90s, after Reagan, he founded the Republican Liberty Caucus. So I do believe that, the libertarian wing of things isn't as big, but it is there. And when you look at things like the healthcare bill with Lee, Cruz, and Paul and everyone else, obviously it is these libertarian-minded Republicans that are ultimately having, their say and having a deep impact. We saw that with the House Freedom Caucus and my, very, very libertarian-friendly former boss, Congressman Tom Garrett. So it's good. At this point, my only thing is this, Austin has only lived in Missouri for a couple of years. He moved back in mid to late 2015. He ran for president as a libertarian. And while he has probably been setting up, a support system, and this is purely speculation, folks, I'm not accusing him of anything. My thing is this, knowing how Republicans work, I've been a Republican for about a year now. They are very faithful to people that have been with the party for a while. And I don't remember her name, but the woman who's a member of the House of Representatives from Missouri who was being groomed to run for Senate against Claire McCaskill, she's not running. She openly said she's not. So that leaves Austin Petersen, unless somebody else announces and they want to primary him, as the only Republican. And I get it. Like, there are a lot of hipster libertarians and liberty Republicans out there that are like, oh, yeah, I'll support you, AP, but how many of them are in Missouri? And then again, how many of them are actually in positions within the Missouri Republican Party where they will help them? Everyone's like, oh, this is a toss-up race. But when you actually look at those factors in terms of support, and especially party support, since we don't even know if he'll get primaried, I'm not too optimistic about this one, especially since he's going up against an incumbent.
He's going to try to take out Claire McCaskill. That's the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be hard for him to do that. It's hard to primary people. It's hard to beat an incumbent. Incumbents always have the upper hand, and if the Republican Party is going to back her, then it's going to be hard for him just to kind of grow enough ground support, especially in a state like Missouri, which is very Republican state, but not necessarily like a real libertarian, liberty-minded kind of state. So it's going to be tough. He definitely has name recognition. He has national name recognition. So he's got that going for him, but I don't know what he's trying to do. I mean, is this just like a publicity stunt so that he can keep his name in the news? I mean, if he actually ended up removing her, then he'd be like, the greatest thing since sliced bread, and he'd be on Fox News all of a sudden, and he would be the talk of the town. So yeah, it's a big undertaking, but I think if he pulls it off, it'll be really worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And just in terms of the seriousness, I remember when Austin announced he was running for president, he contacted me about an hour before he did it, and he's like, "Remso, I'm going to do this," and I was like, we're going to get a lot of crap. And for about 6 months we did. And what's really funny is I remember how things were right before, I left in February. So at that point, it was already in full swing. He had Gary Johnson in, and I was freaking out about John McAfee. And for months we were just ridiculed and slandered. And I mean, that was a campaign where it was just filthy. And what's hilarious is I remember every single person who spoke crap about Austin and I when I went from deputy campaign manager to interim campaign manager. And then at the convention, I see people who are wearing AP for LP bumper stickers and everything, and they have the buttons on, and they're like, I'm with you forever, Austin. And then he goes to CPAC last February, and people are like, Austin, remember me? And I'm watching this from afar, and I'm just like, you were one of the biggest crap talkers. And what's funny is that he's working with Evolt Consulting, and one of the people that works for Evolt now is, I'm not going to say his name, but he was one of the biggest critics. He called Austin a moron. He called Austin a fad. But the moment Austin became the shiny object in the room, he's like, we're going to be best friends now. And now he's working for this company, and Austin has contracted them out to help with his fundraising and paperwork and stuff. And this guy's in a picture of Austin. He's like, we're best friends forever. And it's like, Austin Petersen, he doesn't have best friends. He has people that he uses in the moment. And as soon as they fulfill their purpose, either something happens and they leave, or he just keeps demanding more and more and more. And as soon as this guy gets tired of it, he'll either just keep going on because he likes the shiny object or something else. So I don't see this thing going far, because what we see is that no one jumps on with someone until they become the winner. And, it's like, it reminds me so much of the Rand Paul campaign, because Rand Paul was the shiny object for a while. And the best day of Rand Paul's campaign was when Rand Paul announced. And as soon as he was losing, they all jumped over to Trump. And sadly, some of them jumped over to Bernie Sanders because they just want the shiny object. So I'm not going to make any predictions on this. Honestly, I'm not going to say it would be bad to have him in the Senate, because I think we need more people like Austin Petersen, regardless of how I feel. I think it would be good to have him in there. So if anyone wants to just show that clip and, share it around, say that I'm talking crap, also show this part, morons, because I just said I think it would be good that if he were in there. Ultimately, I look out for my best interest, and my best interest is to have people in there that think like I do. Less government, more freedom, individual liberty, stay out of my life, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, and taxation is theft. I mean, just little things like that. I'm not picky. I'll work with anybody. I've worked with people that don't like me. I just know they don't like me. They've openly said it at some points. But I'm man enough to say that if you're going to get me there to my final destination of where I want to go, I am perfectly fine with that. So my biggest thing is, do you think he's going to, well, I'm saying in past tense, do you think now he's going to alienate a lot of those Libertarian Party members that supported him? Because there were a lot of people just online. They're like, I'll only donate to you if you run as a Libertarian. And I'm watching this. I'm like, you wouldn't have donated him to anyway because you're a Libertarian. You never donate to anything. What are your thoughts on that? You alienated them?
Well, maybe, but, how many of them are there? Like 4? So I'm not too concerned about him alienating the Libertarian Party, because most people in America don't know what a Libertarian even is. And their party's been around for, I think, since the 70s was when it was first introduced. And it's like his best day is getting like 3% of the vote. And that's in this past election cycle, like when it was Hillary and Trump. We had a clear alternative that's on the ballot in all 50 states, and they still only got 3%. So I wouldn't try too hard if I were Austin to, just try to appease all of the libertarians and just like the hardcore. I mean, that's kind of the problem with a lot of them, is that they don't understand necessarily that politics is the art of the possible. It's not the art of what you want. And libertarians sometimes are too strung up, at least in a political sense, on their ideals. So libertarianism, I've always said, is a great political philosophy, but I think as a party, it's absolute garbage. And either you should just dump the party or massively reform it so that it can actually be a functioning political machine, rather than what it is now, which is basically like a club for a bunch of political misfits.
Yeah. Kind of on that note, because I've got to address the rumors around you, Tim. If you were to have a run for Congress, where would you go? Would you go independent? Would you? I mean, obviously, you've just cut out the Libertarian Party. Would you go Republican? Where would you go?
Yeah, I had the conversation with some people, and I had said, well, if I ran, they said, would you run as a Libertarian? I just said no. Like the area I live in, it's not Libertarian friendly. It's very kind of family oriented, social conservative, real conservative area, but definitely not Libertarian. You start saying stuff like that, you're going to scare a lot of people away. But it's also not really worth it to run a primary campaign. So if I were to run, it would be against Jim Sensenbrenner. He's been in office for 38 years, far too long. I think there should be a rule, like you can't be in office like longer than someone's been alive. Like, wait a minute, he's 38 years. I'm only about to be 28. What the heck? There's something wrong here. So if I ran, I wouldn't even bother primarying him, which would save me a bunch of money. And it would also actually get me probably more name recognition because I'd be the one name on the ballot that doesn't have an R next to his name. I would run as an independent and kind of take him out without him even knowing that I'm coming.
Good stuff. Kind of talking about that. One thing that Austin, and I think a lot, let's assume that he wins and we have this great Libertarian caucus and the Senate now. There's always been kind of an argument as to whether or not term limits are libertarian or not. Honestly, I can go either way. I think we need to remove the amendment of the Constitution, which says that, senators are directly elected by the people. I think we need to remove that, and we need to have, the Senate sent back to the states so that the state legislature can appoint the two senators, because the purpose of the Senate was to look out for the best interest of the states, and the House of Representatives was supposed to be directly elected by the people, look out for the general interest of the individual districts. So if we finally get this libertarian coalition going, would you want them to put out term limits, or would you want them to send the ability for the senators to be elected by state representatives within their state assemblies back to them, or keep it directly elected? What's your view on that?
Well, the good thing about it is that if they ever pass term limits, they would never make them retroactive. So all the people in there, so let's say that Austin Petersen and Rand Paul and all these awesome guys vote for term limits, it's not going to affect them. Like, there's no way that it will affect them. So it'll only affect people that are coming in. It'll take maybe, 20, 30, 40 years for everything to really take effect once all these old geezers are out of there. But I would be totally in favor of it, even if it affected me. Because if I run, I'll only be in there for one term, and it'll just be for ulterior motives.
Take over the government and leave people alone?
Yeah, I want to...
You hesitated. You hesitated. Is it going to be, no, man, ultra deep state? You want to go to Saudi Arabia and play with that glowing orb, don't you?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh!
I can't talk about everything on air, but we're toying with the idea of a congressional run.
Let's go ahead and give the audience some cannon fodder. Prediction: Austin Petersen win or Austin Petersen lose?
When is the election? 2018.
2018. His exploratory committee ended a couple days ago, and today's the official launch, even though it was this local Kansas paper that announced it last night. So it's in full swing right now. Assuming he does not get primaried and lose the primary.
I'm going to say lose. The fact that he announced his campaign on a day when everyone is off and they're not reading the news, they're not watching the news, they're not listening to the radio, they're spending 4th of July with their families and friends. So that's a terrible day to launch anything, including a political campaign. So that off the bat makes me weary of whoever is running his strategy. I would have waited until tomorrow. But so I'm going to say lose because... as much as I like him, I just don't trust a lot of the guys that are going to be jumping over jumping for joy for a libertarian. A lot of them, the best strategists aren't libertarians. They're just not. Like they're creeps, and they work in the Republican and Democrat parties, and those are the people that they want. They want people that they can corrupt. And Austin sounds like a good guy. Everything I've seen from him, I really like. That might just kind of mean that he's going to lose because he's going to have everyone against him.
Maybe. And the moment there's another shiny object.
Right, we never know.
Shiny object syndrome.
It's really just too early to make a real prediction. I think he has a shot. I think it's a long shot, though.
Makes sense. Anyway, Tim, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up early. You've got the show for the rest of the week. Oh, and you want to talk about Deplorable Radio real fast?
Yeah, we're just doing like a soft launch basically, but it's an online radio station and it'll feature, podcasts, and we're trying to do some live content pretty much 24/7. And whenever there isn't someone talking, then we're just playing like, Seether and Theory of a Dead Man and AC/DC and just like good classic American rock. So it's going to be a station where people can just turn it on their phone in the morning and plug it into your car, then carry it in your pocket, then plug it into your speakers at work, and you're never going to have to change the station. So, and it's going to be, because it's online, it's completely uncensored, and it's all programmed by me at this point, but we're doing it in partnership with Halsey News, and it's going to be a ton of fun, and we're really looking forward to see how things keep rolling forward.
Awesome stuff, man. I'm excited. Once we get that live software coming in, I'll be able to tag in. We'll go WWE style on that. Looking forward to it. Website looks good. Everything sounds good, and this is going to be fun. So definitely. And, for the rest of the show, how can people subscribe to the Tim Preuss podcast?
You can find me on iTunes, or just if you want to just go to Google. Like that's the easiest way. Type in Tim Preuss, Preuss, and I'll pop up. All the websites will pop up, and Facebook pages and Twitters and all of that. But yeah, just go to Google and type in my name. That's the easiest way to find everything out about me.
Google it. Don't Google suicide bathroom. Don't do that. Anyway, Tim, thanks so much. See you next Monday, man.
All right. Happy 4th of July, man.
You as well. All right, folks. Bit of a format change. Like I said, we'll be doing the live show a little less often, but the quality was still there. We'll just keep improving. We've got some cool stuff coming, but the podcast is my baby. I got to watch my baby grow, and right now I got to take my baby back to school. So, have a happy 4th of July. Go find your neighbor who voted for Hillary Clinton and, give her a hug. Go find your ultra Trump cousin and, give him a phone call and just have fun and enjoy some fireworks and just enjoy 4th of July, unless you are opposed to Brexit, in which you should leave the country. But as always, do you want to go ahead and mention Patreon one more time? Folks, I have to deal with sponsors. I'm always trying to beg for single-time donors, but Patreon is, I think, the best thing for you because you don't have to donate a lot of money at once. I had someone that donated $20. I do greatly appreciate that. But the thing is, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get more than that. Whereas with Patreon, it's guaranteed income to an extent. And we are doing this full time. We have a great team. We have some great writers on the site. Be Live costs money, which is why we almost had to cancel it. And, I'm lucky that family jumped in to help out. But this costs a lot. And honestly, everyone's like, oh, how can I help you? How can I support you? And it's like, I need muchos dineros. I need cold, hard cash. That's it. Like, I need money. You want to help me out? The best way you can help me, my love language right now, is money. Like, flat out, I need it to make this happen. It's just the cold, hard truth. I don't care if you send me Bitcoin in a hard drive. I don't care if you send me a whole bunch of, stacks of Confederate money that equal like $1 in real life. You could send me pocket change. You could PayPal me. You could do whatever. A suitcase full of marked bills. I don't care where it comes from. This is what we need, folks. But if you go with Patreon, it's only $1 a month just for Haunted Republic podcast if you want all the paranormal stuff that you're not going to see for free. Because the documentary, remember, the St. Albans documentary is for free. We're not charging for it. It's going to go on YouTube and it will be absolutely free. But if you want sneak peeks, if you want extra recordings, if you want the interview I'll be doing with Russ from Black Sky Paranormal tonight, you get all Haunted Republic stuff for $1. But then what if you want the Patreon exclusive satire specials and the sneak peeks and the discounts from sponsors? It's only $2 a month. You throw that away in pocket change. Help us out. Go www.patreon.com/Remso Republic today and get something out of it. Everyone wants to get something out of it. This way you always know you're going to get something awesome out of it that no one else, other than the diehards who really want to help us go through, are going to be able to see. So Season 3 premieres tonight at midnight on SoundCloud. It'll hit iTunes and all our other platforms and networks by tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be back Thursday. As always, be good to your neighbor. Go treat yourself and tune in next time. Remso W. Martinez. You're watching the Remso Republic live. Have a great 4th of July, folks.